the idea now is to put the mast down because it's really dangerous to keep the mast like this. I'm Roberta.
And I'm Luca.
And for the past year, we have been building our own tiny shipping container house, so we can travel around knowing that we will always have this little place that we can call home.
But guess what? We just found our dream project before we expected, this abandoned sailboat. So we are gonna stop building the house for a couple months to bring our boat back to life. And then we're gonna go back and finish the house. Well, when we bought the boat, we had no idea if we were gonna take the mast down before going to our town, or if we were gonna take the boat with the mast as it was to our town. Yeah, actually, this is not our decision, it's the mast's decision. Yeah, let me explain. A few months ago, one of the stays of the mast, one of the side stays, broke out of nowhere. Without being sailing, without any extra stress, it was just sitting on the hard and it broke. Yeah, actually not the stay, the support piece on the top of the mast.
Yeah, so it was dangerous to keep the mast up.
Yeah, but we didn't know if we need to do that right now or if we could just anchor the mast with cables and then bring the boat back to our town using only the engine and not sails, and then we could do that there because it would be a lot cheaper for us to do in our town, in our marina, would be easier to work and we could do it with time, right?
And to buy things with time.
Yeah, until something happened.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out which cable is which cable because they are all the same color, black with dust. So the idea now is to put this genoa down.
That's gonna be a surprise. And we just opened up a little bit the genoa when there was no wind at all, so there was no risk of anything happening on the dry. And we opened just a little bit of the genoa and we opened up a little bit more and then something broke on the forward stage. And then things start to change.
Yeah. The next day, the forecast for the next day, was a really strong wind.
Yeah, not really strong.
It's really hard to speak English.
Yeah, I'm speaking by myself because she don't want to speak today. She's like, I can't speak English today, I'm tired.
I don't know what's happening. So the forecast for the next day was a really strong wind.
Not really, but some wind.
For years.
For her, any wind is strong, you know? Yeah, but basically there was a forecast of wind for the next day and we could not close the genoa. The forward stay was somehow broken inside of the foil of the genoa, and then we realized that we needed to put the mast down. There was no choice. It needed to be on that day.
Yeah.
And what happened?
We called some cranes and they couldn't come on that day or on the next day. Yeah,
actually the marina has a travel lift, but there is no crane. And as the boat is on the dry and is a big boat, they said the travel lift wasn't high enough to take the mast off only if we put the boat on the water. But it was even dangerous to move the boat without taking the mast off. That means we need a crane. But as there was no crane available, at least we had friends available. And friends sometimes are better than cranes. Yeah, it's true. Like friends with experience, they know what they're doing and they can find a way of doing what they need to do with what they have, right? Our friend from our town that was here had a lot of friends here, so everyone together came with a solution. Tina, thank you. Tina is a friend of our friend that now is our friend actually, and he's really good at what he does, and he knew exactly how to use the travel lift to take the mast off without any trouble and secured. And that was a really precise operation, and that was really good. So let me try to explain. Imagine that this is the hull of the boat. This is the bow. This is the stern. Here is the lifting board that swings this way. And here is the mast. And the spreaders. So the problem is that the travel lift didn't have height enough to get higher than here, and that's not the center of gravity of the mast. That means that once we lift the mast on this point, this would become a pendulum, and that means that the mast would be able to fall this way or this way. Another problem we had is that we could not trust the spreaders and all the metal parts around the mast here to hold the mast through this point. So we need actually to hold the mast through here with a cable on the travel lift, plus a backup plan that would be a cable going down through a winch. So we have a winch here. So that means that the mast actually was supported by the bottom into the crane, and not only by the center of the mast, so was supported by the bottom. So to solve the problem with the pendulum, because we needed to use the travel lift, we did this. Imagine that this is the hull of the boat. Here's the bow, stern, and here's the mast. We pretty much had 3 winches available. One winch here, another one here, and another one here. So in order to make sure the mast wouldn't pendulum in any direction, we use cables. So basically we run a line from the mast to the bow, and then this line went all the way to this winch. That means this was pulling on this direction. And then we did another line coming to here on this direction, and another one coming to here on this direction. That means that if we had all the lines tight, the mast wouldn't go anywhere. So we lift the mast, and then we could control the bottom of the mast to make sure the mast wouldn't fall on this way or this way. And now we were able to get the travel lift that was here. Imagine that this is the travel lift, and take the mast down and slowly make our way out with the travel lift, carrying the mast. And once we clear the boat, we could put the mast down. I don't know if it made sense, but that's how we did it, and it worked perfectly.
The footages are a little bit far away because I was afraid to get closer to the mast.
Yeah, she was
spreaders started to fall, and I was like, oh, I need to stay away of this.
Yeah, she couldn't film well because she was afraid that the mast would fall on her. And that's another thing we forgot, the spreader. The spreaders of this boat, there are four spreaders, and they're made out of wood, and they are 29 years old. So that means that they were all rotted. Yeah, whatever. So basically the spreader was no good at all, and once we touched the mast, one of the spreaders just fall on the deck, and that was a bad sign.
Yeah.
But at least now we have the mast down, and now we can decide if we wanted to fix the mast here, or if we not fix, I mean like change all the stays and change all the metal parts that need to be changed, if we want to do here, or if we want to take the boat down to where we live later and fix there.
For now, the idea is to just put the mast on the top of the deck, and to go to Florianopolis with the mast down.
Yeah, that means that we would only rely on the engine. That we don't even know if it's working yet, but we are really confident that the engine is good, and we are gonna give an entire maintenance of the engine and change everything we need to change. And if we decide to do on this way, our friend is gonna be with us, and we are gonna have a fortune mast, a small mast, just in case the engine goes bad. We have a way of controlling the boat and moving the boat, but that's something that we can talk about 2-3 months from now, because it's not a decision that we need to make right now. So for now, the mast is sitting on the marina on the ground, and the boat has no mast, and that's weird because it looks so different now. But at the same time, it's really good because now we can paint the boat properly without the mast there, and it's easier to work without the mast.
And we are not afraid of the masting
falling
on
the top of someone or on the top of a boat around, because we have boats all around.
Or on the top of our boat.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. sure the mast won't fall.
Time to welcome on board our new patrons.
Thanks so much, Eric,
Stefan,
and Patrick. You guys are awesome.
yeah, welcome on board.
And you guys are on the skag of the boat now. That's pretty cool, huh? Let's keep going.
And this is how the Genoa looks like after 20 years. We also want to thank everyone on the boatyard.
Yeah, by the way, this is not a sponsored video. They didn't ask us to do that. But we've been here for 2 weeks and a half and they're so nice. Every single person we met here that works here and that don't work here, everyone is so nice that we need to say something, you know. From who cooks and we eat her food every day, who cleans, we talk to her every day, the security guard.
We have lunch with them.
Yeah, we have lunch with everyone. It feels like a family. We've been here for 2.5 weeks and feels like we are at home. From the owners to the guys on the administration,
the security guards,
everyone. Thanks so much. You guys are awesome, and without you guys, wouldn't be as easy as it is for sure. Because anytime something breaks, like appears, fixing already.
Yeah. No one asks.
Remember the
pressure washer?
Pressure washer? Yeah.
The pressure washer?
Yeah, pressure washer.
It wasn't working, and then
suddenly,
out of blue, it worked.
Yeah.
Someone fixed it and we didn't ask for it.
Someone just walked by and saw it was broken and just fixed it right away, and it was like, whoa. And then like we found something on the boat and we put on the garbage because it was broken, and the next day the guy that works here come and bring like, oh, I just brought you back because I found on the garbage and I could fix, so I fixed it and I'm just giving you back. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, we have no words to describe how grateful we are.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, guys.